G'day guys, welcome back to part number 5 of Confessions of the Caster. I'm Josh, I'm your host, and yeah, we'll start with that. Now, part number 5 is going to be how to put value on yourself. And, value is what other people see in you as a person. It can mean, how much a good is, how much a person is worth. It's essentially a subjective kind of thing. And, you can even value yourself. So it's very obviously subjective. So, how much this diamond is, people find it sparkly, people like sparkly things, people value it a lot more. People view a pile of dirt and they don't view it very well because there's a lot of piles of dirt out there. Therefore, they don't value themselves, they don't value it that highly. Now, sometimes when it gets to labor, when someone builds a high quality house that stands for millions and millions of years, people tend to value it higher, or value a car over a horse, for example, like that. And that's what value is. Value is, versatility, flexibility, the amount of work put in, the durability of it, the overall quality of the product. And, well, casters have a big issue with value because what they do is they bring their voice, their personality, and everything to an event. Even their influence as well. Bring a lot of things to an event. And a lot of casters who are newly getting into the arena don't know their true value. And they don't even know, a lot of people think casting is just getting there, casting, let's just say, 1 BO3 for, let's say, 100 EU. And that's it. The 3 hours that's all you're being paid for. Well, you could be even further from the truth because you can't go into a cast completely unprepared for 3 hours and expect to be paid 100 EU. I mean, let's be honest, you don't get paid at your job for 3 hours for no preparation whatsoever. Not even doing your homework, not even putting a schedule in, and not even organizing your time to make sure you're prepared to do said task, how you're going to do said task, and any ongoing costs with said task as well. And a lot of people seem to forget, hey, for example, for casting, you need a good microphone, okay? Sure SM7B, good microphone podcasting, and they don't take into consideration, first of all, their time. So time of casting, you could be doing anything else with those 3 hours. You could be working a qualified career, you could be working for a qualified job, except instead you are casting a game, okay? Now, a lot of casters are like, time of casting a game, so if it's above minimum wage, I'm fine. Well, that's kind of incorrect, because if you want to provide value to a cast as well, you need to make sure you put in the effort to study, to know how to pronounce a player's name so you're not learning on the fly. You need to have some insightful statistics so people stick around. People don't want to have a caster really watching a kill feed, otherwise they'll just watch HLTV. You want to be doing a bit more than the HLTV scoreboard. You want to make it sound exciting, like it's a big match, and obviously don't make sure that every kill sounds like the goddamn Taj Mahal, but play up the big things and keep the flow going. And, that's how you're going to manage your time. But you're going to consider in your wage or what your joining price, your price recommendation or your value proposition, as they call it, is that you're going to put out your time, you can put into it, your knowledge of the scene as well, the amount of practice you're going to have to put in, your running costs. But actually, we'll just leave running costs aside, we'll just put in time. The time you put into study, the time you put into DMing players as well, the time you put into organize, to organize the match and potentially tech pause and stuff like that as well. So you got the match, you got preparation time, you also got DMing players and stuff like that as well. You might even have shoulder content as well with interviewing some of these players. So you've got to be able to value your time effectively. And a lot of casters don't realize that. They think, hey, I'm getting paid 30 EU for a map, and that's pretty much it. And it's like, mate, you haven't considered your time as a value. You value your time pretty poorly. I mean, some of these casters who are casting pre-log, they're valuing their time at 22 EU per map. And for some people, that's very great. But for people, that's barely, getting by, essentially. Now, the next one which I hinted at was equipment. Okay, so you've got a computer, right? Okay, let's just say your computer lasts 5 years, okay? So you want to make sure that every cast you do on a computer, or even a production, that you're being paid somewhat, because that's taking energy out of your computer, and your computer's being used, none of their equipment or your equipment, okay? So producing being, having a vMix subscription on whatever it is, having your computer produce, on 1080, whatever it is, any extra setup you've got as well. I mean, Louis one of the guys, Louis, in WA, he does a big producer. He's probably got a lot into this and he knows a lot more about it. But you got a lot of ongoing costs as well. You got your internet you got to pay. You got your power bill you got to pay. You got your lighting as well. I've got lighting here. You got a lot of ongoing costs to actually pay. Okay, so it's not just the normal thing. Even my chair depreciates. Okay, my table, and you got to make sure that you're being paid somewhat into it. So if you're not considering any of those costs when you're casting and just considering just your voice and going for minimum wage and not even thinking about these ongoing costs, you're not really valuing your time or your running costs whatsoever. So if you've got, a 3080 Ti and you're able to run multiple, calls and stuff like that, getting the casters in for Discord and doing all this production and this tests and stuff like that, and then producing the actual event flawlessly at 1080p, and you're not valuing that time, let's just say you get 20 EU for producing it for a map, it's like, mate, 20 EU, you've got to realize you're trying to pay for your monitors, your other subscriptions that you may use to produce, even in the sound, all your skills, you're valuing that at 20 EU per map. You gotta value what you've got. You've got to put a number down. You've got to value your time as well to say, hey, I'm worth 30 EU, maybe 40 EU per map, maybe even 100 EU per map. I remember getting paid 100 EU for producing, and that's like rookie producing. If you're a top tier producer, you should be getting paid a lot more, okay, as a producer, okay? Now, the reason why I produce is I can produce 1080p, get the Discord in, just the basic Discord in, share the CSGO as well if needed with the overlays, so my co-caster can get it. It's a lot of things you got to consider. A lot of things you got to consider with your co-caster and yourself, in these kind of things. And that's another thing, ongoing costs. Now, as I said there before, your equipment, okay? Your keyboard, your mouse, your headset, whatever things behind you as well. This is more for a streamer, not for a caster. But your green screen, okay? My green screen's right there. You got to pay for that too, okay? All these things you got to pay for. Also, not to mention food, drinks, you got a sponsorship, you got my iced tea here. You got to remember, you got to feed yourself. And also, if you're paying a mortgage, you got to, consider that in as your value proposition. So I know a few of these casters come in and think it's the hobby, and this is the problem with valuing yourself. Some of these casters that do come in are doing it as a hobby. And God bless their souls, doing something that they love, okay? And they don't really consider this value for themselves because they're doing it because they enjoy it. And there's nothing wrong with it, okay? Nothing wrong with it. It's better for these people who are doing it as a hobby to remember to value their time, because it will help them later on to not only do something they love, because a lot of people love CSGO, okay? A lot of people, myself included, and make a decent wage off it so they can live. And this is how you turn a hobby into a business. Some people don't want to go to that step, but you want to learn this lesson to value yourself as a person, okay? To value yourself. It'll bring you true inner peace, okay? True harmony, confidence, everything when you value yourself first. When you're not putting yourself down or anything like that. So this is what you need to find, the true value of yourself. First of all, the quantitative features and the qualitative features, all this equipment, stuff like that, you got to consider that firstly. And then you could be like, what do I do for the scene, okay? Who would I bring into the channel? Like, what would I do, okay, as a person? Now, for me, I cast a lot of CSGO. People will recognize me for my ESA advanced cast and stuff like that. And they'll be like, yeah, I know a lot of the audience. I've chatted with a lot of the audience before. I know some of the players. Cast some of the players before. Had a chat with them as well. It was pretty amazing. It was very, very good to do. And those are the sort of things, you got to have. Like, hey, this guy can talk to players. This guy can interview. This guy can produce. Have a lot of strings to your bow. Okay? And then with that value, you go to the companies and be like, hey, I want to negotiate this because, I do a lot of this. And you've got that bargaining chip that you can basically put to them. Now, if you don't even put the bargaining chip and whatever it is, essentially the TO puts the value to you, okay? Instead of you putting the value to TO, like what you feel you're worth. Now, at the end of the day, as I said at the start of the video, the value is subjective, okay? That's what other people think you're worth, okay? And you got to convince them that you're worth a lot more. And the most important thing is you got to perform that you're a lot more, okay? You can't be like, I need to pay for everything and then put out absolute plot. So you got to basically, with your value proposition, the number one thing that comes with it as well when you're proving your value or try to recognize your value is absolutely integrity, okay? So when you say you're going to do something, you are going to do it. Because if you don't, your value proposition you're putting forward is going to be questioned and it's going to be practically worthless. So stick to your word as best as you can, okay? Don't give any excuses, okay? Do the best cast you probably can. You are okay to make mistakes, okay? As long as you get back up and do it again, okay? And do the quality cast and make up for it. It doesn't mean that, if you do one mistake, that's the end of the world. You did try your best, okay? And there's a lot of, people that have fallen down, done a few silly things here and there, and have got back up and nailed it again. So that's how you've got to do as a caster, is that you've got to value yourself, you've got to attribute your value, basically define your value of what you are and what you do for people. You also got to find the quality of physical features, the microphone, the internet, the power. That's got to be considered into it as well. Your rent, because you want a bit of that extra dosh for your rent. Okay, you want to make sure that you're not wasting your time casting a game for 22 EU when you could be stacking shells for like 50 EU or driving trucks for a lot more, and it gets everything paid at the end of the day. Now, I may be talking about blue-collar labor jobs. The reason why I talk about those minimum wage and blue-collar jobs is that there's no arguably skill to go into those scenes, okay? Not really much skill at all, other than having a certain license and not much experience at all, okay? You can get to those as very menial tasks, and that's why I compare it to there, because casting has a specific set of skills at times, being able to build a story and stuff like that as well, and have people enthralled in said story. You need to be paid and recognized for their said skills. And just remember that, okay? Just remember the value. Physical, yourself, and do not let the TOs put a value to you. You put a value to yourself, basically. Never let a value stick. Just be like, hey guys, I feel like I deserve a bit more here and there. Negotiation and persuasion can always be a great tool. And also, at the end of the day, make sure you have multiple skills to your bow, so you can use it as a bargaining chip going forward, and be like, to your future employers, stuff like that, be like, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this and that, and then stay true to it and do all said things. Do not put stuff into your resume or into any cover letter that you 100% could not do. Okay? Anyways, guys, that's it for Confessions Caster Part 5. Hope you guys learned a lot about attributing value to yourself. To the hobby casters as well, please attribute a value to yourself as soon as possible. I'm going to say it'll be a good life lesson for you. Even if you don't go into CSGO in the end and you decide to go into another field, you'll really thank me a lot for this, okay? And a lot of other people who try to help you out to attribute value to yourself. Because not only will you help yourself, you also help the industry, the casting industry as a whole, by making sure that some TOs don't take advantage of you. Thank you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out.